Can I ask a clarifying question about the
Gardens
masks?
or just
I thought Jamie had said.
Hold on,
we were-
Jamie.
Hold on, Jamie. Or Jamie, did you say that when we're sitting up here, it's okay if we take our masks down? Yes.
Yay.
Thank you.
Everyone ready? Ready, Jamie? Okay, are we on? Like to call the order the Westbrook School Committee meeting for September 9th, 2020. Can we all stand for a pledge of allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dr. Lancia, can we have roll call, please?
Steve Berry. Here. Jeremy McGowan. Here. Jessica Meninsky. Beth Schultz.
Here.
Vice Chair Suzanne Salisbury.
Here.
Chair Noreen Poitras.
Here.
5 present.
Thank you. Do we have any adjustments to the agenda?
None.
None. Thank you. Approval of the minutes for from August 12th, 2020. Do we approve?
Make a motion to approve as presented.
Motion by Sue Salisbury, second by Beth Schultz. All in favor? 5 approve, none oppose. Inside your packets are communication correspondence, is that correct?
It's all in the packet.
Okay. Doesn't look like we have our student councils here yet. School has not quite started, so we'll move on. Do we have any public participation for agenda items only? No? Okay. Can we have the superintendent's report, please?
Yes, you may. Good evening, everybody. In your packets, you have this month's Teaching and Learning newsletter, which will be posted to our website and distributed to our families tomorrow. I would like to call your attention to one article on the front page because that individual is here this evening. Finn, our new therapy dog at Westbrook Middle School, is actually here with Ms. Wood tonight. So welcome to Finn. You've already made quite an impression on the Westbrook Middle School family. We're glad to have him here in our community, and very, very proud of the work that was done by the policy committee last year, particularly by Ms. Wood doing the research around therapy animals in schools. So welcome to Finn. In the newsletter, you'll also see some information about coming back to school, and I'll give some information. I'll give an update of where we are this evening. One thing I will also call your attention to, I'd like to congratulate the many, many individuals who are celebrating milestone anniversaries this year in our school district. We always honor people who have celebrated 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, and more years as milestones. Everybody was recognized at our annual back-to-school meeting last week that was held on Google Meets, and we'll be posting that to our website, but congratulations to our employees who've had great longevity here in the district. And a special thank you in recognition to our employees who've been here for 35 years, and those are Linda Boyce, a third-grade teacher at Sakarapa School, Brenda Dolph, a business instructor at WRVC, Liz Page, a 7th grade social studies teacher at Westbrook Middle School, and Phil Rich, a music teacher at Westbrook High School and Westbrook Middle School. So thank you for your many, many years of service to our community, to teaching generations, literally generations of students in our community. I was very pleased this week as we came back to work, disappointed in that our students weren't starting yet because of our delay, but pleased in that we had a number of individuals reach out to me and to others over the weekend and into this week, inquiring about working in our schools, working as substitutes. Pleased to report that we have a number of substitutes in queue to be hired. We're moving that process along rather quickly. We filled an open position today that had been created by a late resignation into the summer, and we have interviews this week for the remaining open positions. So in terms of staffing, we are looking to be in very good shape, which I'm extremely pleased about. As I said, it was disappointing not to welcome our students back this week because we are all eagerly anticipating their return, as I know they are too. But we just weren't quite ready last week because of the issue with our substitutes, which is being resolved, as well as an additional enrollment swell at Congdon School and kindergarten, which we are addressing, and the software issue with our routing system within our transportation system has also been resolved, and those routes are being finalized and are just about ready to be announced tomorrow or Friday at the very latest. So all of the things that caused our delay have been addressed, and we are pointing toward opening on Monday with our students in the full hybrid model. I appreciate the support of the school committee. I appreciate the understanding and the patience of our entire community. And I know it was a disruption, it was a change of plans, and I do appreciate everybody's understanding and their patience with us as we continued to make good decisions around the opening of school. Our facilities are in good shape. We've been installing additional protective equipment and barriers in high contact areas. We've been installing air purifiers in different areas that needed that to be done. We have been adding signage. We've been adding different routes within our schools to monitor traffic within the schools, traffic patterns within the schools, rearranging furniture to make sure that we're providing for the physical distancing as well. So our facilities are in good shape, as our staff is in good shape as well. This week also, we are setting up at each of our schools times for families to come in and pick up a bag of material, which will allow them to do self-screening in the morning, a check for COVID symptoms every day. And in the bag, you will receive, or every child will receive, an instant read thermometer, as well as directions for doing the self-screening every day. There are 4 questions that families are asked to answer. And if the answer is yes to any of these questions, the child should stay home for the day and report those symptoms to the nurse. If they are COVID-related symptoms, the nurse will counsel them and make a recommendation for testing, which I am pleased that Chief Turcotte, who is our emergency management coordinator here in the city, has been working closely with us to provide for testing. And assures us that he will work to help make that testing go pretty quickly if families need that. Also in these care packets, or these COVID packets, every student and every staff member receives 2 face coverings. And they are the cloth face coverings, the double-ply cloth face coverings, which are aligned with the CDC guidelines. And they also receive a bottle of hand sanitizer. So all of those are being distributed this week. Each school has times for different groups of people to come into school to pick those up. Some have already been doing that already this week, so that will continue through the end of the week. It is essential for families to complete that self-screening before their children come to school every day, and that includes before they get on the bus every day. So I hope that this will help to build another event into your morning routine, and that might be a little confusing at first, but it is a necessary one that we all have to do. Our students as well as our staff. Building that into my own morning routine has not been the easiest thing, but that's part of what I do every morning as well, to make sure that we're healthy to come to work and to come to school. We are making arrangements for students who are in the Remote by Choice program, the totally online program, to pick up laptops or iPads this week as well, and that information will be coming home if it hasn't already. I am pleased that our online program, Remote by Choice, is in really good shape. Our Assistant Superintendent, Dr. Kim O'Donnell, has been working literally day and night to get that program up and running, with the support of some of our staff who are working remotely. But Kim has really created a terrific system using software for our students whose families would prefer that they stay 100% remote. Almost 300 students, K through 12, are participating in that Remote by Choice program, which is a considerable number. And as you can imagine, that has become a considerable challenge to make sure that everyone is up and running with that. Information about that will be forthcoming this week and into the weekend even, so that that program is able to start up on Monday as well. The last thing I'll mention about the school opening is that as we come back to school, we have a lot of new protocols, a lot of new practices, a lot of new safety requirements that we have. We will be sending home a document, a handbook for families, caregivers, and students called Return to School, and it outlines a number of our procedures that are really essential to all of our families to really understand how we are handling safety precautions, how we're handling physical distancing, what's expected in terms of safety practices, what's expected in terms of academic practices, including what our protocols will be if there is suspicion of COVID or if there is a diagnosis of COVID within the schools, how we will react to that. All of these plans are aligned with the Maine Department of Education's Returning to School framework, which is all based on advice from science and a number of experts, including the Maine School Nurses Association, the Maine CDC, the Governor's Office, and other folks who've been advising us in terms of health and safety along the way. So this document will be posted to our website. We'll make sure a copy gets home. It's in the process of being translated into a number of our languages so that we will have that information out for folks as everybody comes back to school next week. A couple of other things I want to mention in the superintendent's report is two things. One, I'd like to mention where we are with the solar panel project and what we are going to be doing in terms of moving that initiative forward. If I could ask Dean to give a quick update as to where we are with that process.
Yes, thank you very much. I've been in contact, in fact, even today, with Eric Dudley at the city, and I very much appreciate all of the hard work of he and his department for that. And we are scheduling a meeting for next week to get together and look at that RFP and go through the analysis to make sure that we can select a vendor that will help both city and school. And our Sustainability Club has done an excellent job in identifying some of the school needs. So very much appreciated.
So we will be moving forward with that as in the next several days to move that forward.
Yeah, so next week we'll have a meeting to flesh that out and select a vendor.
What are there, about 7 on that chart that's been out there today?
Yeah, there were a total of 9 vendors, and the responses were varied. So we had quite a range there, and some of them were not very specific to some of the school needs. So yeah, so we want to make sure we flesh those specifics out.
Looking at some of the numbers and the location sites, Evergy, Nexamp, and Revision, I think were the 3 that stuck out to me. Specifically Revision and Evergy, because they had more sites, more school sites specifically, which I think is really key in the educational component of this, which I'd like to see pushed through rather than just simply the energy point. Kind of why I was behind it from the get-go. But those numbers look somewhat similar. I'm still a little bit in favor of Revision, but I do like what Evergy has listed there. Just some of the figures that you have posted, so I appreciate that. Thank you.
Anyone else have any questions? I do. Does it look like we're going to be able to work with the city on this project at this moment?
I would say yes, because the information that's there is it's pretty detailed, and some of those vendors, as we've seen in the analysis, are very friendly towards the school and meeting some of our needs. We are looking at having a solar array on 3 of the buildings, and I think that's a great educational piece, and we want to have the ability to get some digital readouts at any of the schools as a teaching tool. And also, there's a lot of information out there from the Department of Energy that we can avail ourselves of as well.
Okay, thank you.
Great, thanks, Dean.
Thank you.
We also wanted to give an update on where we are with fall athletics and activities. I'm sure you've all seen stories and on the news and rumors that you may have heard, or opinions or other details about the fall athletic season, which is still a work in progress. But I asked Blair Morelli, our athletic and activities director, to come and give a quick update of where we are with fall athletics.
Good evening. So unfortunately, the MPA had a meeting today at 4 o'clock, which we do not have the information from that meeting as of yet. That meeting was with the CDC, DHHS, I believe some representatives from superintendents, as well as the Department of Education. You may have noticed that the MPA put out some guidelines last week, which were slightly different than the community recreation program guidelines and the school physical education guidelines. And they were, at that point, they were charged with going back to the drawing board and trying to modify some of those guidelines. So we are without official guidelines right at this moment. We hope to know more tomorrow morning. Our expectation would be, from what I've seen and what we're hearing, is there's a possibility of certain sports not happening in the fall. There's talk of relocating those seasons to another time later in the year. There's already been modifications within the schedules. In fact, they've been reworked several times now, many times, some of which I do not have yet. We as athletic directors, that's one of our charges. We have to develop the schedules. It's kind of hard to do without knowing the guidelines. So we keep doing them over and over again as the guidelines change. Some of the accommodations we have made is to make them regionalized schedules. So we would not necessarily be traveling all the way to York or all the way to Bangor necessarily. We're trying to keep them in closer proximity the best we can with the schools. We have reduced the amount of competitions. So some sports, when you normally see 14 or so soccer games, you might only see 8 right now. 5 or 6 cross-country meets have been knocked down to 4. The other restrictions that we are running into dictate things such as, can we have spectators, can we not? And under the governor's order of 100 people, it's going to be hard to have spectators at a lot of events because the 100 people is going to be made up of just the athletes, and the staff need to actually run the event. So that's another interesting hurdle we have to get around or over in that situation. So unfortunately, I don't have any specific guidelines for you regarding high school athletics at this time, just because we are waiting on those guidelines, which Dr. Lancey and I were actually texting earlier today. Did you hear anything? Did you hear anything? And neither one of us have heard anything official yet, so we just don't know where we're at with that. Middle school athletics, we are at the point where I'm not sure we're going to have enough time to make middle school athletics work in a competitive setting. In talking with other athletic directors, they're not looking that avenue, especially right now either. They're waiting to see what happens at the high school. Most of those schools are doing more of an intramural type program. In doing so, the recommendation has come from other athletic directors and looking that if we do an intramural type setting, it would be AA or BB. So if the kids were in school on the AA days, they would have intramurals that day in that sport. If they did it on a BB day, if they were in school for the Wednesday, Thursday, they would do intramurals on a Wednesday, Thursday, but there would not be mixing of those cohorts to try to reduce contamination if there were to be any. Tracking is a big part of all of this. We have developed some online Google Forms in which to basically do a track that every kid will be responsible for doing prior to doing an activity, and that will count as our resource if there happens to be an issue that we have to backtrack and see where was the contact, how many people had that contact with, and keeping those records. So it's become a very large task to try to keep track of how this is actually all going to go down. There are some questions. I'm going to bounce back to the high school quick, and then I can answer questions if you want. If a sport is not offered in the fall And it looks as though the two that are the possibilities of not being offered at this time are football and volleyball. If they offer them in the spring, are they going to allow a conditioning period in the fall or not? I don't know that answer yet. I have to wait on the MPA. If they do not offer them at all, are we going to try to offer something internally, is the next question. So unfortunately, without having those guidelines in front of me, it's hard for me to give you the answers. I can just kind of give you the scenarios that we're hearing about out there. It appears as though they might do something with the winter season to allow for a volleyball season after basketball. And football, I'm not sure where they're trying to fit it in right now. Everything that I'm telling you right now is stuff that I'm hearing, but there's been no official word as to what's going to happen with that yet. Hopefully tomorrow by 4 o'clock we'll have those answers and we can start working on what's going to happen. At the high school level, we are prepared right now to go on Monday with practices if they are allowed to happen. If they are not allowed to happen, we are probably going to have a conversation with Mr. Lancey and see if we can push off a week and then try to do a conditioning type setup. In the following week, it's just going to depend on what our answers are. Some of our challenges out on the fields are safely providing water, where it's limited to how many people are going to be touching that water. Physical spacing, obviously, on our facilities, not so much during the activity, but more so on the beginning at the end of the school day, where kids like to congregate down by the gym area. We're going to have to try to disperse that as much as we possibly can and get them to where they need to be. And of course, at the end of practice is our other issue that we're looking at. So that's some of the items we're having troubles with. There's the face covering rule for the community guidelines. If that's what we end up doing, is basically during vigorous activity, there is no face covering. That's what they're looking at right now. I don't know if it's going to stay that way, because it's going to be very hard to play soccer with a face mask on. I had to take mine off just to talk into the microphone, so you can imagine what it'd be like actually trying to play soccer with it. The other issues we're running into is benches. So my benches are only 21 feet long. If we do a 6-foot spacing on the benches, I'm looking at maybe 3 people if I'm lucky. We have actually reached out to Lowe's. We're going to reach out to a couple of places to try to get some buckets, to use the buckets as a sitting space and a space for them to put their belongings, so that, their phones and their face masks when they're not using them, and their mouth guards when they're not using them, and so on and so forth, so that they have a space that they can move with them. So let's say we have a soccer game, and during the break time of a soccer game, where the coaches usually get them all together, they can sit 6 feet apart on their bucket. Unfortunately, due to the hurricane, I believe Lowe's graciously donated thousands and thousands of buckets to the hurricane victims. So there were a little shortage right now in the bucket situation. So we're trying to get those as well. If you know of any buckets, 5 gallons with tops, that are clean and unused, I'd be very appreciative of how many we can get, because we thought about using them possibly as outdoor classroom space if needed as well. Something for that. So. Questions?
I just have a question.
Yes.
If Westbrook decided not to have fall sports, and we just decided to pull the plug on all of it, what would happen as far as if, say, other communities did have their sports? What would that mean for us, like, as far as our ratings and...
So I don't believe that the MPA would penalize us in that situation. So in a normal situation, if we're docketed to offer a sport and we don't, they could penalize us up to 2 years as of not being able to host that sport. I don't think that's going to happen. Doubt that's going to happen in that situation. The ripple effect is going to be schedules. As soon as we do that, we blow up everybody's schedule again. They have to figure out how they're going to get competitions, who they're going to have. The second part of that would be, of course, there'd be a gap year within our developmental programs. So all our programs that are trying to get developed in some way, shape, or form, they just wouldn't have that aspect of what's going to happen. If the CDC, the DHHS, the MPA were to say we can't have sports, we're all on the same playing field. And I think in that situation, I would probably try to do something similar to the middle school model that I just mentioned, where we would do AA, BB groupings for skill development. And any kids that were interested in doing that, we would have those coaches available to do those type of activities. So we work on small group activities. Let's just use field hockey, for example. There's about 30 girls, give or take, on field hockey team. I don't know if the breakdown would work this way or not, but I would assume somewhere around 15 on the A days and 15 on the B days would do skill development in some way, shape, or form, where we at least have the opportunity to work on that. Some of our athletes that have the ability to pay for a rec program, I see some of them going in the rec program realm in that situation. Unfortunately, not all have the financial means to do that, so that's where the issue runs in. We'd like to offer something so that we'd have those individuals that don't have the ability to do the recreational programs to actually get to do that. And there's always the concern that we might not get them back from the recreational programs. There's always that chance. Once we don't offer it anymore, it might not be something that they're interested in doing in the future, which would be very unfortunate. I hope I answered that, Ms. Salisbury.
Is it just me that can't hear what they're saying?
Is
I
it
heard most
echoing?
of what you said, but I don't know. Are you guys having a
some
hard
feedback,
time? There's
yeah.
some feedback or something? I got the gist of what you're saying, and I appreciate that.
No worries, sorry.
I think I got the basics of it, but it's super hard to hear what you guys are saying on the microphones. I'm
Oops,
sorry.
sorry about that.
But I
Not-
got the gist of it, and hopefully they'll come out with something so we can make a plan.
Yes, we hope so. We're anxiously waiting, and we're raring to go. Whatever they decide, we'd like to get something rolling so we can get started.
Yeah.
The waiting's killing us.
Yeah, okay, thank you very much, and thank you, Jamie.
Anyone else have any questions? I do.
Yes, ma'am.
Since there really is no sports right now, there isn't any conditioning beforehand, are we paying stipends?
We have not put stipends forward yet. We are waiting to see what happens within the MPA at this time, because we didn't know what capacity the seasons were going to be yet. So as soon as we know what capacity the seasons are going to be, and if we were to have sports, I would then propose to put those stipends forward to the school committee.
Okay. If we went to like the middle school at the intramural type, would that be more falling under the intramural stipend?
That would be a decision we'd have to have the conversation about. I would assume it would be a percentage of their current stipend. What that percentage would have to be determined by the school committee.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Anyone else? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Great, thanks, Blair. And you know, this has been, a long, a long drawn-out process to determine if we're able to have athletics, and some of that is within our control, some of it's not within our control. We very much would like to provide that important part of our school program. However, we have to make sure that we're providing it safely, and we have to follow the regulations, follow the guidelines. We want to make sure that all of our students are safe, and in turn their families are safe, and in turn our entire community is safe. So we're anxiously awaiting that guidance, and I'll be able to update you, as will Blair, as to where we are going, hopefully for next Monday, or if we have to wait on athletics perhaps another week, but we'll have that decision hopefully soon. And just one last thing before I close out, I just want to say thank you to the incredible staff here in the Westbrook School Department, our school administrators, our teachers, our support staff, everybody who's part of the school system has been working sometimes literally around the clock to prepare for the opening of the school year, to reinvent public education as we know it, to really look at ways to do things differently, to do things more efficiently, to do things creatively. I've been so impressed with the work of my colleagues throughout this entire pandemic, ever since March 13th, when we had to change everything. The work ethic, the talent, the dedication is so amazing. And even some new folks who've been hired in the last few weeks who've just started with us, several have commented to me about how impressed they are with their new colleagues here in Westbrook, and how dedicated they are, how child-centered they are, and how deeply they care about their students, about their work, about each other. And that meant a lot to me as the superintendent and as someone who's been in this community a long, long time. So thank you to my entire school staff, to all of our colleagues. We know we're the most incredible school staff ever, and I think in the last few weeks that really has demonstrated that even more. So hats off to all of you, my colleagues. And that's it.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Lancier. Chair, committee reports. Anything from the Education Programs Committee? Okay. Finance Committee?
Yes. The Finance Committee did meet, we met right before our meeting last week, if I'm correct in saying that. Let me
Yes.
just find my notes. On September 1st. We talked a little bit more about the request for the kindergarten teacher at Congan that we're going to vote on a little bit later on. We were able to have a nice monthly update from our new accounting manager, Heather. She did a great job of talking about the reports and what we look at and how we look at those, and maybe make some changes to make the reports a little bit easier to, for us to review. Thank you, Heather, very much. That was really helpful. We talked about the different COVID grants that we've received and how they have been spent and will be spent, and the final information will be presented to the state next week, I think, if I'm right. Probably. And we're going to talk about the Sebago Schools Alliance. We didn't get a chance to talk about that, but we'll talk about that a little bit later on. Our next meeting is going to be October 7th at 5 p.m. on Zoom, if anybody wants to come.
Thank you, Sue. No Personnel Committee update. Policy Committee?
No, we haven't met yet. We'll meet again the 28th of September.
Okay. 28th or 26th?
I thought it was the 28th.
28th.
28th, yeah.
If I'm
Okay.
reading this right. 28th? Okay, good.
Okay, thank you. We have no other committees.
That's what I thought I saw.
Any old business? No? Okay, on to new business. 12.1, Administrator Teacher Nominations. 12.1.1, Spanish Teacher, Westbrook High School. Do I have a motion? Sue?
I'd like to make a motion that we take 12.1.1, Spanish teacher, Westbrook High School, 12.1.2, special education teacher at Sakarapa, 12.1.3, grade 5 teacher, 1 year only at Westbrook Middle School together.
Do I have a second? Jeremy, second? Do you have any discussions? All in favor? 5 approved, none opposed. Thank you. 12.2, request to approve hiring a kindergarten teacher at Congan School, 1 year only. Do I have a motion? Motion by Beth Schultz, second by Steve Berry. Do you have any discussions? All in favor?
Makes sense. It just makes sense.
Yeah, all in
We
favor?
have to.
5 approved, none opposed. Thank you. 12.3, MOU between the Westbrook School Department and the Sebago School Department, informational. Do I have a motion? Sue, second by Beth. Peter, would you like to discuss this?
Sure. If I could just introduce this and maybe ask Dean to come back to the microphone to go over it. This is a great opportunity for the school department for a revenue source. We've been contacted by the Sebago schools to provide some service for their fleet of buses. Sebago Schools is, I believe, a one-school school district. It broke apart from one of the larger SADs a few years ago, and they have asked us to consider servicing their vehicles as part of our work. And Dean has been working with the Sebago schools to draft this MOU in terms of how we would provide that service. So,
Okay.
if Dean can.
Dean?
Thank you very much. As Peter mentioned, this is an MOU for doing preventative maintenance and inspections on the Sebago fleet of vehicles. There are 3 full-size buses, a minibus, and a minivan. So it's not a large fleet. A pretty small school department that they have in Sebago, one school, and we would provide those services to them. obviously a timely basis. And the advantage to Sebago is they're able to find a dependable source to get that work done and done on time. As you may remember, our buses get inspected every 6 months. So this is it's an ongoing arrangement. And I have put this out there as a school year to school year. So we try it this school year, see if both parties are good with it. As Peter said, it is a revenue source for us. So I think it's a win-win for both school districts.
Do we have any questions? Guess not? No? Great.
Thank you.
Thanks, Steve.
We need to vote on it.
No, that was just an information.
Oh, that's information. Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. Okay, 13, information. Important dates. 12/14, first day of school hybrid Group A and remote by choice. September 16th, first day of school hybrid Group B. September 23rd, 5 p.m. Ed Programs Committee meeting on Zoom. September 28th, 5 p.m. Policy Committee meeting on Zoom. October 7th, 5 p.m. Finance Committee meeting on Zoom. October 9th, Professional Development, no remote learning. Is there school that day?
Not for students. It's a teacher workshop day, so there'll be no remote learning. It's a Friday.
Oh, it's a
It'll
Friday.
be remote if we're still in hybrid.
Okay. October 12th, Indigenous Peoples' Day, no school. Sorry about that. October 14th, 7 p.m., School Committee, Westbrook Performing Arts Center, and Facebook. October 21st, 5 p.m., Ed Programs Committee meeting on Zoom. October 26th, 5 p.m., Policy Committee meeting on Zoom. 14, public participation on school-related matters. Does anyone want to say anything? Go ahead, ma'am, if you can go up to the podium.
Hi there. I'm Leslie Andrews. I'm at 54 Constitution Drive. I think that's your district, Ms. Schultz. And I have a rising junior at Westbrook High School. So on behalf of parents everywhere, thank you for your work. I just wanted to bring to the group, earlier this summer, the United States Marine Corps, the Navy, NASCAR, all banned the displays of the Confederate flag and its likeness. And I'm here tonight to ask you to do the same, specifically by passing a policy that would ban the Confederate flag, its likeness, from all school properties. That would include flags, clothing, bumper stickers, and other adornments. And if you're wondering whether or not the displaying of the Confederate flag would violate students' First Amendment rights, the courts have already heard cases pertaining to this very issue, ruled in favor of the school districts. And as a culture, we continue to do the hard work to reconcile and understand the complex issues around race and privilege. And it's my belief, and the belief of many in our community, that the Confederate flag is a symbol of hate. And I'm here to ask that our district take the proactive approach and step to make sure this is banned from our school property. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Andrews. No one have any comments? I would, go ahead.
We are addressing that as a policy committee. It just kind of came to us, and so that is one issue we will, I think, talk about at our next policy meeting.
Okay, thank you, Beth. Anyone else? Sue, you all set?
Yeah, I wasn't gonna make a comment about that, but I was, is that okay?
You have something about something else?
Yeah,
Okay, anyone else have comments? No? Okay,
thanks for bringing that forward.
thank you.
I was just gonna say thank you again to everybody for getting things ready for school. I know it's been quite the task, and I wish we could send you all on a little vacation. COVID-free, but I don't think that's part of the CARES Fund, but I appreciate you guys, all the work. It's been really a ridiculous task that's been asked of you, and you, Blair, you've sort of taken the baton, so to speak, on the next big hurdle that we'll have to address. So good luck to you with that as well. And final thing was, I think Peter just had a big milestone in the district, 30 years, right? Pretty impressive. Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Anyone else? Well, I also like to say thank you to all the staff members, support, teachers, custodians, transportation. Peter, you said that they've worked hard. I think having a good role model in the position you're in, you show hard work and everyone follows and gathers around you to get the job done. I don't know how many times I have told Peter to take the long weekend to spend with his family, and he does not listen. So I appreciate it. I know I push on you all the time and challenge you on some of the decisions, but I really appreciate everyone that did. Don't want to single out anyone special, but I really want to thank Melissa Foy. I have gone up there on the weekend because I live close to transportation, and I don't know how many times I've seen her vehicle up there late at night. There's another vehicle there, I'm not sure who that is. Denise Watts. Appreciate all your help and all the long hours you guys have put in trying to recreate the schedule that was lost due to the computer system. That is truly appreciated. But thank you, and I'm hoping for a good year and to have some sports. Anyone else? Okay. Any announcements?
Just really quick.
Yes.
And we will have an awesome year. This is going to be the most unique year, hopefully the only year we'll ever have like it, but it's going to be an amazing year. Absolutely, I'm convinced of that. I do want to mention to the community, we are serving lunch this week at all of our schools. Families can come to each of our schools between 11 and 1 if they'd like to pick up breakfast and lunch every day this week. So 11 to 1 at all of our schools. Drive up, pick up your lunch throughout the week. And we're very pleased to offer that. Thank you to our school nutrition staff for making that possible this week.
Thank you. Oh, yeah, just one thing to the community. With the school, seems to be like a lot of parents going to be dropping their kids off at all the schools. So maybe they spread word to the community, other people headed into Portland or on the outskirts who are going by schools, maybe like Stroutwater. You might want to avoid that first couple of weeks while parents are going to be dropping off at the middle and high school. I see big traffic jam there. Eisenhower, William Clark Drive backing up. Congan School's probably going to be really heavy right around Severino's. Forest Street. So if the community can just try to maybe rearrange their commute a little bit so we can get these kids to school safely. I'm assuming some kids might be walking with their parents, especially the little ones. So just try to keep that in mind. A lot of patience is going to be needed in the next couple of weeks until we get this down. Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Request to adjourn? Do I have a motion? Sue Salisbury and Steve Berry. We are adjourned.